Denmark. Denmark, obviously, are in it to win it with these guys. Yes, it's REDDI and the show. It's a ballad that turns into something of a rock, and something that, let's face it, is far less retro, I think, than what was offered by Fear og Flamme last year, who sadly, yes, I know, come closer, yes, I felt sorry too, that they did not qualify last year. They came 11th. They just skimmed past. Martin, are they going to have such issues this year?
I don't know. I really like this. I've got no problem with this at all. It's the mix of the ballad at the beginning going into the rock song. Now, because I really like the rock part of it, and the ballad's good as well. And it's just this mix. And watching it live, sort of watched it before the show from the national final, and it worked really well. But I've got this wondering whether or not it's going to work against all of what we're seeing in semi-final one, of which obviously all these tonight are in semi-final one. So we're already singing the praises of everybody else. So yeah, I really like REDDI and the show, and it was, for me, it's probably the best one in Denmark, but I'm not entirely sure whether it's going to get through to the final, even though it will add a different genre, a different sound to that semi-final for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think it goes back to the whole variety, isn't it? Sometimes they stand out, and they stand out in a very positive way, and sometimes they stand out, but they don't, or they just get lost in the crowd, I think, sometimes as well, with that. Thomas, Denmark, was this a song that you voted for?
It was. It was definitely, for me, the best song in the Danish selection this year. For me, almost every other song in the Danish selection was a bit too nice. It was something Denmark always sends. I think this one is a bit different. It's a bit more, it's more rocky. It's all girl power. It's got good energy, I think. But I also think it will be around 50-50 if they qualify. I could easily see them going 11th like Fear Flamme last year. I hope they go through. I think they deserve to go through, but I think it will be a close race.
A close run thing. I mean, what do you reckon they could do, just to come back on you slightly on that, what do you reckon they could do to try and shore up the, that 10th, potentially 10th place we're looking at, aren't we, in the semi-final? What do you reckon they could do for that?
Turn up the energy even more. I think they should go a little bit more crazy. I think they should really rock that part very much, and then I think they could climb to the 10th spot.
I like that idea. I do like that idea. It fits under the guise of one of those tracks for me that reminds me slightly of early 2000s kind of pop rock type thing. Alina, what do you think on this one?
Oh, I love it. It's in my top 5. Like, this song is for me such a vibe. Like, oh, it's so amazing. Like, I'm definitely gonna vote for it. And I mean, it's a song that if you're home alone, like I was today, and you're wearing your PJs all day long, as example, as I was today, and you have a drink at the daytime, as I was having today, and this song is playing, you're just dancing in your living room, having a party, and I love it so much. Like, oh, it's such a great song. I love it.
So out of curiosity, Alina, have you followed the Stu Wilder's special and stuck 10 quid on this one to win?
Oh no, like, the only thing I put my money on is the Euro Millions, and I'm still losing it, so I won't even try to put money on Eurovision.
I think everyone's losing money on Euro Millions. if you do Euro Millions, that is, I'll be honest, Lena, I do Euro Millions in the UK, and quite frankly, yeah, it's still waiting. It's a long time coming. Joe, Anita says the drummer is the star of the show. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I do. She's amazing, isn't she? Because wasn't she the drummer of Selena Samai? Was it? So yeah, I'm right on it. Yeah, I thought so. Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, so effectively, she's done this before, and I love that song, and that was one of my favourites that year as well. Should have known better. I love this. I do love this song. I think when you were saying about what can do to be improved, my only little tiny gripe is the lead singer is very bare during those opening ballads, and I think if she has an off vocal, which she was a little bit on the dodgy side at the beginning in the national final, I do think it can, it can show. So I think she needs to get that vocal nailed at the beginning, and then the energy and the rock and the rest of the guys, the bands will actually see her through, and I think they would qualify on that basis. But she has to improve that vocal at the very beginning.
Yeah, the first impressions count so much, don't they? I think, particularly with Eurovision, because I always think you can always tell, and obviously, let's face it, guys, we've watched a lot of Eurovision in our time. There have been the odd performances where they haven't potentially delivered so much at the very start of the song, and we've all been able to see how that has impacted, particularly in the era of televoting and things like that, because it's almost like, as I've said many times before, the public are a fickle bunch. And if, it's off kilter for the first 15 seconds, they've already decided that they're not picking up the phone. It's very dog eat dog in that world. Phil, I am fully expecting this song to be so far up your street. What do you reckon?
Well, this is the thing. You see, I sort of stand by what I said when we reviewed the whole of the Denmark final, because it starts off like a fairly slow, maybe a little bit formulaic, and that lasts for a whole minute. So that's a third of the song gone before it actually kicks in. And there are so many other songs that start off a bit slow, and I think the others do it a bit better. And it's a great 2/3 of a song. The last 2/3 are fantastic, but the first bit just turns me off a bit too much, and I think the gimmick sort of falls a bit flat because of the number of other songs that are doing it maybe slightly better, and it just goes on a bit long. If it was like 30 seconds of a ballad and then the rest of it was more of the indie rock, I think it'd work a lot better. But the ballad's just too long. That's the only problem I have with it. I mean, it's a good song, don't get me wrong, I like it, but it's the last 2/3 that I really like.
That's fair enough. And to be fair, that's not a bad thing. I suspect, and I've already mentioned it once this year, but I'll mention it again. I suspect that's what a lot of Europeans thought about Thane Erotas from Cyprus in 1999, in that the last 2/3 were absolutely on point, but the first third took a little while to get going. And even Jude says, look here, I might be tempted to go put the kettle on in the first minute. We've also got here, didn't Valentina Monetta fail by doing the same thing as well? However, we've got some love for the drummer, and Anya prefers the rock part, and it was the right choice in DMGP, but doesn't think it will qualify. Hope it will. Little John UK, I don't know. Is this damning with faint praise? I don't know. I never watched Danish MGP, as it's always so lowest common denominator music, but this is good. I don't know. I think that's high praise indeed. Now, guys, after 3, is this going to qualify? Right, remember, 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, I think the borderlines have it. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Come May, I'm sorry, Alina. People are, but people may be swayed by it. Borderline doesn't mean it won't qualify. It just means we think we're going to sit on the fence. It's comfy on the fence. I provided cushions.